Hills all the way to the Ohio River. This is Pure Rock 98.7 WYRO FM, MacArthur, a Jackson County broadcasting station.
It's time for the Viking Victory Hour on Pure Rock 98.7 WYRO.
Hey, getting likes from total strangers really helps us out. Find us on Facebook.
Rockin' the Scioto Valley, from Bridge Street in the Paper City to the Eiffel Tower in the Iron City, and from the Hocking Hills all the way to the Ohio River.
Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Viking Victory Hour. Jeff Thacker here with you tonight. Bob was unable to be here, so we've brought in a special co-host. That would be one Josiah Thacker. Joey, good to see you.
Nice to be here.
See you near as much as I want to. And, of course, we have Coach Marcus Games with us. Coach, glad to see you as always. I'm sure you just finished up with a rousing round of practice. So how's things? How's everybody? What's injuries look like? How are we doing?
The injury's not bad. We had a couple people that we did concussion protocol for, Bowen Ward and Lane Danner, but they seem to be doing just fine. And, we're fortunate enough this year to have a really good trainer, Dr. Gideon, out of Hocking County. And, he was here for a volleyball game last night. So not only was on, Friday nights, he was able to check them out and, reevaluate them last night and gave us a protocol to follow. And I think we're going to have him back this Friday.
Good. So let's talk just briefly about last week. Circleville came in. I thought the first half you guys played right with them. Second half came and a few things didn't go the way we wanted them to go. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I think, last week I saw great improvement in our players, and I thought our players played hard week one. I thought our coaches maybe didn't put them in the right positions, and I thought, our coaches did a better job this week to put them in positions where they could be successful, and we responded and took a lead in that first half, and, that's a big step with our young football team, being able to handle some adversity, bounce back, win in halftime. And we had a couple injuries, and we had to make some adjustments. Had to put some guys in some places that hadn't had a lot of reps there. And I think we saw that. In that third quarter. You guys know that first series of third quarters kind of win or lose series usually in a close ball game. And but overall, I was really excited with what I saw in terms of improvement from week one to week two, especially at a lot of those sophomores that were playing. I thought a lot of those guys really stepped up.
Sure. Well, I know Bob and I talked and basically said the exact same thing you're saying. What a difference 1 week makes. The one thing, and I said this multiple times Friday night, and I'll say it again to you tonight. You faced two really, really good quarterbacks. And I don't think your DBs have been out of position. They've either been guarding a guy that's 6'5", or they've just the quarterback put it where nobody could catch it but his man.
Yeah, and I think that's right. And I preach, we're not an excuse team. We're a what's next team, and they've taken that on. And it's reps. It's reps. We usually have most of the time a freshman and sophomore corner out there playing. And they need reps, and each rep you can see them getting better, and what I love about this group is, we lost the ball game Friday night. I'm letting them in the locker room Sunday afternoon so they can get a practice on their own, and so as a coach that just motivates you. These guys, they want it, they're hungry, they want reps to get better.
Sure.
So and that's our mode right now is let's get better every week, because we got. After this week, we open up TVC play, so it's going to get real serious.
Mm-hmm. And this week is Trimble. What do you know about them?
Well, it's Trimble. So as a coach, you get excited to coach against what I believe is a Hall of Fame coach, and Coach Ferris. He's got well over 200 wins as a high school coach. What some of the state runs they've made, and it's a game that I love because I love the physicality of football. That's what draws me, to the game when I was in, kindergarten. And, this is just going to be an old-fashioned, Friday night in MacArthur kind of a street fight mentality. And that's what we're preaching to our guys at Trimble. They don't stop. They may not be the biggest team you've ever faced, but they hustle, they fight, they got great heart, and they just keep coming. And so, if you're not ready to kind of be in that mindset of it's going to be down and dirty. It's going to be won in the trenches. Don't show up Friday night because you won't like it.
Well, I think this may be one of those he who has the ball last
Yeah.
might win, Joe, I can't remember. Did you get a chance to play against Trimble?
No, we never played against Trimble. We were close to the last team that was finishing out with Jackson this week.
Aha, yes, sir. I remember those.
Yeah, good times.
He played, if I remember right, he played nose tackle against Jackson. And when Coach Hemsley said, "This is what I want you to do," he turned kind of pale because he's like, "You do understand how big those guys are."
It was a little rough.
Yeah, but it worked out well.
Had to stop that little quarterback counter, right?
Yeah.
Right on that A gap. I know that play very well.
Well, Trimble comes in 2-0. They've beat Nelsonville.
They're
which-
1-1.
Okay, because what they sent me was 2-0, so they're 1-1.
They lost to Nelsonville week 1, 21-14.
Okay.
It was a heck of a game.
So you know more than I do on that.
I've watched the game probably 6 times.
Nah.
So,
And it's going to be interesting, Coach. There's some interesting matchups. If you look at the TVC, Athens is 2-0, Wellston is 2-0, which Wellston hasn't been 2-0 in forever. Then Meigs comes at 1-1. Nelsonville is 1-1. We're 0-2. River Valley's 0-2. Wellston has Minford this week. River Valley has Sims Valley. Alex has Belpre. Remember those trips to the river.
oh yeah.
Athens has Marietta. Meigs has Colegrove, and Nelsonville York has Liberty Union.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting schedule, as you said. After this week, we move into TVC play, as far as TVC Ohio play is concerned. What do you know about what's going on in the league?
Well, I mean, I think last year, everyone knew it was kind of a 3-team race.
Sure.
It was Nelsonville, Athens, and Benton County, and fortunately, we came out on top. I think this year it's really a 4 or 5-team race. And it's I think Athens is probably the clear favorite if you had to name a favorite. But I think there's 4 or 5 teams based on injuries, based on ball bouncing the different way, based on weather. I think it's going to be a real fun race to watch down the stretch.
Well, I know they talk a lot in the NFL about parity and how things are now. I think you're right on in the TVC that just about anybody can win this thing. It just how the ball bounces, how the one mistake here, a fumble recovery there, and it turns things around. Joe, you got a question for Coach?
No, I just kind of wondered what the game plan was coming into Trimble. I mean, they run generally double tight. You guys run with a 3-front offense or defense. I was wondering kind of what the plan of attack was there.
Yeah, so you're exactly right, and they're going to get in the double tight and they're going to want to wishbone at you, and we run a 3-3 stack because most of the teams we play are spread teams, and so that 3-3 stack we have to make adjustments, and it'll look like kind of an old-fashioned 5-3 most of the time, where we'll bring a safety up in the box, and try to get an 8-man box to stop that, and we'll take some chances, in terms of we'll give you the middle field, but we're going to try to stop that bone, number one, heck, the younger Thacker, he's going to be up on that line a lot, and he's one of those guys last week. And this wasn't planned. I didn't know you were coming. I was actually going to talk about the kid. He really showed some great improvement. Had a sack last week, and so yeah, we're, it does stress our defense, but we've got a lot of coaches that are really fired up. Kind of, Coach Fry, he's kind of old school guy, and he's pumped about, hey, our 3-3 is going to look like Benton County's old 5-3 this week.
Yeah.
And so. And we've got a pretty good defensive line. I thought our defensive line played real well. Hunter Hoyt had a heck of a game last week. He was stacking bodies up, and that's what our thing is. We're going to try to get them out of that bone because that's not what they want to do. They like being in that bone and running off tackle, and trying to hit you with a boot. And we're going to get them out of that bone. That's our motto.
So how about the quarterback? Is he a throwing quarterback, or is there any reason for him to, as long as the bone's successful?
No, I mean he's a younger quarterback like our quarterback. He's a sophomore. He's got a lot of talent, and he runs the bootleg real well, and he runs the bone real well. He keeps everybody, manages it real well. But he's a pretty good quarterback.
Mm-hmm. And for just a minute, since we're already on that subject, let's talk about your quarterback. I thought last Friday night, as far as running and hiding the ball and not and disguising exactly what was going on, probably the best I've seen him do it.
Yeah, no, Jace is a sponge, and Jace just wants to be the best quarterback in Benton County. That's kind of his goal, and so he approaches the game of, hey, what else can I do? What else can you teach me? And when we put in some stuff last week to kind of slow down some of that backside pressure, it did wonders for us, and he ran it real well. And so I don't want to talk more about it just in case there's Trimble listening. So, but yeah, no, he did a real good job of hiding that ball a little bit and making them at least treat that backside more honestly.
Sure. Well, let's talk just down the road a little bit, just for a moment. Jackson is 1-1.
Yeah.
And Ironton just beat them. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. Just physically beat them up last week, and this week they traveled to the Berg,
Yeah.
who Ironton beat them up, and Ironton beat the Berg up. So now Jackson's going to the Berg. Do you know anything about it? I know you got your own thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's exciting for Southeastern Ohio. Ironton and Wheelersburg, Jackson, they represent us so well on a state level, and I believe I was told this, and I'm not talking trash about Jackson, but I believe it was the first running clock in school history down there, which is I'm sure they didn't like practice because of that this week.
Oh,
but,
no.
But I think that's going to be a great game. Ironton beat Wheelersburg week 1. Pretty good fashion. I believe it was like 37-7. And then they beat Jackson, I think 50 something. So I think Wheelersburg Jackson is going to be a great game. When I was in Trace, we had our run-ins with Wheelersburg, and going down to that environment, it's an amazing environment. So it's going to be a great game.
I think, Joe, you roomed with a guy at Capitol from the Berg, did you not?
Yeah, I did.
So you knew a little bit about the Berg as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Coach, let's talk just a moment about, and I know you've got your strength coach out here, and we'll talk to him some more about it, but let's talk just a minute about, I believe, again, Friday night, it's going to be miserably hot. Are the kids, are we seeing in the second half, we might be, just getting a little, and you can't, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Everybody is getting tired, but maybe after this week, I think the heat's going to kind of dissipate some. But stamina is a big thing, especially when your numbers are not.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a huge factor for us. And, we've got water flowing, ice towels going, everything you could do. And then we're preaching, don't wait till Thursday, stay hydrated. And you got to start on Monday to get ready for Friday. And they're doing a good job of that. We got some big guys, and that's going to be a real key this Friday because, Trimble doesn't have our size, but if, I told the guys earlier this week, if a semi truck and a sports car drives California, that semi's got to stop a lot more, and it takes a lot more gas to get that semi. And so we're going to have to manage that in a big way, even compared to Trimble, and so we've been working real hard on our coaches, trying to find out combinations to give guys breaks, moving this guy here for a set of plays, gets this guy off the field. And we did a little bit of that last week, and like Lane Hayburn, he got a lot of breaks last week on defense. And I think we saw on offense what that did. I mean, in that third and fourth quarter, he still looked really fresh.
Yeah, I was going to say, he looked real
and so
fresh.
That's what we have to do, because we don't have a lot of depth, and, we're a 40, 43 man football team. And so, we have to figure out those combinations, get guys breaks.
I think people, and I think I mentioned this to Joey earlier, people tend to forget that sometimes. Benton County in golf's a huge amount of area, but 43 kids, 45 kids is what we've got. Comparison, Jackson has 30 kids just on their freshman roster. So stamina is a big thing. Joey, you played with short rosters, I should say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
34 would have probably been or 43 would have been a big number for your
43 would have been a big number. There was times we didn't come off the field and you were like, okay, I need to lay down. I'm hurt. I need a drink. Give me a break for a minute. And they're like, what are you doing? Get up. So I understand exactly where they're coming from. I mean, it's rough. It's hard.
Well, and it is getting better. I mean, I've seen our numbers improve steadily for the last 3 or 4 years, so that's getting better. Hopefully, these sophomores that are out there now can encourage some of the underclassmen to come out to get involved and to participate. So why don't we do this? Let's bring your strength coach
Okay.
in.
All right, let me take.
We got to get him in here because he's got to go to church, and he can't miss church. It would not be good, especially I believe he said you're in charge of the youth. Is that right, Coach?
Yeah, I'm the youth leader there at Renovate Life Church of God.
Uh-huh. And, Coach, introduce yourself to everyone.
Well, my name is Ralph Henneman, and owner of Temple Fitness there in Wellston, Ohio, 1328 South Pennsylvania Avenue. And exactly a week after Coach Gaines got hired, he made a visit to my gym, and I was all excited. I'm like, "Well, Coach, you want to come and work out and stuff?" And he stopped me in the middle of it. He goes, "Well, what I'm here for is to ask if you would be part of my coaching staff in the strength and conditioning department." I was beyond blessed and happy that he's given me this opportunity, and I'm excited to go forward.
So, Coach, do you have a specific what do I want to say, Joey? Style workout, some pattern that you use?
There's so many workout patterns and
Oh, yeah.
styles. You could spend the whole hour talking about that.
Probably.
My most important thing for an athlete is to be explosive. So I do a lot of explosive movements, coupled with compound movements to get the hips moving, get the hips popping. People can be strong, but they got to have the horsepower connected to that, so they can get those 2 or 3 crucial yards on the football field. I don't believe that any specific exercise will necessarily bleed over the football field, but I believe that if you can connect the hips and lower back and especially some of those hamstrings, a lot of kids on the football field get some knee injuries, and I believe a lot of that is because we're not focusing enough on the back of the legs and the posterior chain.
Mm-hmm.
If you're engaging, if you're focusing on your big compound movements, everything else is just going to follow it. Your core is going to get stronger. Your legs are going to get stronger. When you learn to bring your hips, there are so many kids who don't understand that. You learn to bring your hips, you become a whole different animal on the football field because all of your weight and all of your power transfers like never before. Instead of just swinging your arms, you're swinging your whole body into somebody.
Well, that's interesting that you say that because I do circuits. In a workout, I'll have the main compound movements, but also do an explosive movement before that. I get some some pulling along with my pushing, keep those shoulders healthy, and get the lats and everything, all the big muscles, so that they're ready to go on Friday night and push where they need to push.
So you've been involved in weight training for as long as I've known you.
Yeah.
So,
there at Temple Fitness, we've got strongman competitors. We've got my wife has actually come close to winning some competitions in strongman masters class. Sorry, honey, I don't mean to say that you're old, but the 40 plus masters class, she's cleaned up, and I'm hoping to bring a lot of that to Vinton County football. When I'm in there during the season, we kind of got to get in there and get out because they're learning a lot of things, so it's a neat balance. So once the off season hits, we'll start putting some beef on some kids and some hip power and strength but it's also important. Not only you make a better athlete, but you're also a safer athlete, and that's what I want to look.
Oh yeah.
Bring those injuries down because an athlete can't do anything if he's injured.
I heard someone talking the other day about the Browns, and obviously I'm a Browns fan, but
I won't hold that against.
Don't hold that against me and Bob. That's just the way it has to be. But they were complaining that who in the world's their strength coach? They've got these injuries already, and I'm with you. To me. And, of course, I trained with him a little bit many moons ago when he was at Capitol, but it doesn't stop when the last whistle blows on the last Friday night or the tournament game. It's an ongoing – I know we have always commented for years when we go to Nelsonville to do a basketball game, you can look up and their weight room's up behind the bleachers, and there's people in there working.
So you guys are watching a basketball game. I'm turning around just drooling at what they've got.
Can we have that, please?
Yes. But yeah, I believe we can build a good strength and conditioning program that hopefully will last for years to come. And I go out and I try to learn what I can. A couple years ago, I went to Lancaster High School. There was a strength and conditioning coach there from the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, okay.
I think he said he spent about 30 years being the strength and conditioning coach at New Orleans, and he said it was really interesting because he started after Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, okay.
He said after Hurricane Katrina come through and devastated everything, he goes, you got to be able to train with whatever you got, whether it's just calisthenics or kettlebells. He said I had to, after Hurricane Katrina, the strength and conditioning coach said that he went around and pieced together something that kept his guys strong and away from injury. So.
Sure. Well, I look at and of course, I've been doing this for 35 years, so I've seen a lot of football. And I look at, and we always used to do the comparison when we would put our football athletes on the basketball floor. And you would see other football athletes from other teams that were visibly stronger, than what we were doing. And I've noticed and watched, especially like with my grandson, some visible improvements in strength and conditioning over the years.
And it's really interesting that you say that because I've seen progress from, I've got a girl at the gym that's 7 years old, clear up to an 85-year-old client. So everybody, they say that working out young stunts your growth. Well, the girl that I've been training, she's 7 years old. She'll be 8 in November. She's grown 6 inches since
I don't think she's stunted.
No, she's not stunted.
I don't think she's stunted.
She's not stunted.
Right, and the conditioning, the coordination that comes too after I make them do.
I always thought that was kind of a myth. I had the boys, I've got my own little gym at the house there, and I've had the boys in there at an early age. I wouldn't let them put a lot of weight on anything, but I was trying to teach them the form so that way the weight just kind of followed. And that's, if you have good form, the weight's going to come.
Absolutely.
Right? So.
Yeah, I've got the 7-year-old girl is doing one arm dumbbell clean and press with the 20-pound dumbbell. You got to keep in mind that she's started in November. She's only 7 years old.
She's 7 years old.
And she's probably 40 pounds soaking wet.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you get that. Yeah, I keep telling the wife, because when your wife was involved with school and stuff, that's how I kind of became familiar with you. And I keep telling my wife, I'm going to get down there one of these days. And she's like, oh, I don't know. And, of course, Josiah, who is my son, told my grandson the other day, I guess Jacob asked him if I could run. And Joey told him yes, but it was ugly. So I may need to come and see you.
I would love for you to come down to Temple Fitness.
Well, Coach, we're going to get you out of here so you can go to.
But I have to also give a shout out to the marching Vikings.
Oh, there you go.
At halftime,
They're coming too, aren't they? Aren't they coming down, some of them, to your place? I thought so.
So I am the voice of the marching Vikings too. So I have to give a shout out to the marching.
You can't lose that part of your job.
Right. So during the game, I'm on the sideline, and then at halftime, I run up to the press box.
Yeah.
And I run back down to the. So I'm getting.
There you go.
I'm
There you go.
huge Viking now.
There you go. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
How's that?
God
We
bless you.
appreciate it. You have a good evening. We're going to bring in, I think Coach brought a player. I forget who he brought him, so we're going to make him introduce himself. How's that? Coach, thank you again.
Thank you. God bless you guys.
Have a seat, young man, and go ahead once you get all mic'd up there and tell us who you are.
Well, my name's Lane Danner.
Okay.
I play middle linebacker here.
I thought you did. Now, Joey will know you better than I'll know you because this is Jacob's dad if you don't know. So, he may have more questions than I do.
All right.
So we're glad you're here. Last Friday was kind of tough.
Yeah, it was.
It's not fun. If somebody tells me, I can remember, because I was always a baseball, softball, not a football guy, and I had a guy tell me one day that, we're just out here to have fun. And I said, well, if you're just out here to have fun, I'm going home because I'm out here to win. I'm sure you are too.
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a junior?
Senior.
Senior. Oh, geez.
Yep.
That's not good. Well, I mean, it is, but what's your plans after you get done in Vinton County?
Well, I plan on pursuing a career in welding. I've taken some classes. We get a welding class here now.
Mm-hmm.
I started with those, and I plan on going and welding with the pipeline.
Okay. So have you been at Buckeye Hills at all, or you're just taking the classes up here?
I'm just taking the classes
Okay.
up here.
Okay. Good money in welding.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good money in welding. Been around it for a minute.
Yeah, you do that a while. Jay. You have a question?
No, I mean, it looked like the linebackers really stepped it up last week compared to the week before. I mean, it seems like you guys were filling holes and where you needed to be. So, I mean, did you approach last week any different than you did the week before? Or?
I think I came out and played a little harder. We as a group came out and played a little harder. But
Is it difficult, and we've asked this question to Coach, so I'll ask you. Okay, the first half, it always looks like, again, when he played, there were probably 30 kids on the team, not 43. 30 probably was a big number when he played. So, you could tell by the time you got to the third quarter or whatever that there was a whole lot of people breathing hard. I'll say it that way. How about you guys? You guys are obviously in a lot better shape than what that group of people was. You have a few more numbers than what that group of people was. So how do you come out at halftime, get ready to go into the third quarter knowing that you're probably going to see the ball on both sides for a while?
Did you just call me fat?
I did not.
I think you did.
No.
That hurts.
I said better shape.
That hurts.
I don't think you guys had the strength conditioning that. I mean, look at you now. You're not fat by any stretch.
That hurts.
So tell me, what do you do?
well, I think it's kind of your mindset when you come out of halftime on how tired you're going to be throughout the game. You got to keep a good mindset, and I think Coach Henneman does a good job of getting us prepared to stay. Have the stamina to make it through the game.
So tell me a typical. I don't know how often or how long you spend with Coach Henneman, but tell me a typical workout session with Coach Henneman.
He's a lot about movement. So we do our lift, and it's always movements after the lift. So it's anything from doing monkey rolls to back handsprings, anything with him.
To keep your agility up.
Yeah.
Okay.
The more flexible you are, the less prone to injury you're going to be. I mean, there's all kind of guys out there, 250, 6'3", and then you pop them real good or they twist funny, and it's like, oh, we're out for the season. Sprung my knee, sprung my hip.
Sure.
So movement's great.
Well, I don't remember if he got on the field or not, but we were, we always kind of look at the roster. When we walk into the press box, the guys that do stats for us have usually been there already for a half hour, for 45 minutes. And they were like, uh-oh. And I'm like, what's the uh-oh part? And they're like, look. And the very last player on their roster was like 6'5", 320. I'm like, holy moly, where did this kid come from? We don't have any 6'5", 300 and some odd power people, but you've got good size. Obviously, you've got good agility. What do you think about this week coming in against Trimble? What are you looking for?
I think it'll be a tough game, but I mean, up front we have that size. We have Bone Ward up there and Hunter Hoyt, and I think they can probably handle the O-line pretty good.
Yeah, you should have size. You should have the size advantage. The speed advantage, I don't know. I haven't seen them yet. I know what speed we have, but I haven't seen what they're usually, they've got 2 or 3 kids that are pretty quick.
They're a pretty quick and tough team. Yeah.
Okay. I did ask, just so you'll know, we had Hunter 2 weeks ago. No, we had Hunter last week, and he was coming out of concussion protocol, and I couldn't resist. I had to. I said, I want you to tell me what in the world was big enough to give you a concussion. And he said a couple kids got him from the side. So, I mean, you can't help that. It's not like Hunter's not in shape because he is.
Yeah.
But I was expecting him to tell me, well, I moved wrong and a truck hit me or something. But it wasn't any of those things. It was 2 people. So
I asked him the same thing.
did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he's back. I mean, it's hard to hurt Hunter. So, okay, after high school, you're thinking about getting into welding. That's a wonderful career. What would you like to see happen for the Vikings in your senior year?
What do you mean? Like,
Well, okay, are we going to win the TVC? Are we going to go to the state playoff? What do you want to do?
I would like to repeat a TVC championship for this year.
Mhm.
I think it would be a tough ask, but I would like for that to happen.
Well, as Coach and I talked earlier, and Joey talked as well, the TVC's kind of wide open this year. I mean, you've got, and I don't mean to belittle Wellston, but for the last few years, Wellston has not been really, really good, and right now they stand at 2-0. So now that nobody in the TVC has played a TVC team yet, so that kind of funnels into the whole thing.
Right, but I mean, Welson's returning, I think they have 14 or 15 upperclassmen right now, and then you've got Athens that has 30. I mean, they're kids that were starting as freshmen and sophomores when Jay was a senior.
Yep.
So, and they just continue to get better then, and now they've had all these reps, like Coach was saying, with a young team. That you're kind of seeing the tail end of a young team with Athens.
Oh, sure.
Now they're all upperclassmen, and it's like, hey, everybody knows what's going on.
We're where Athens was
Right.
2 years ago with a very, very young team. But I'm with you. I'm really anxious to see what happens when everybody gets into TVC play.
And I think, I mean, with our group, we're kind of intermingled. I think there's 6 or 7 sophomores that are starting, and then there's 5 seniors, 7 seniors, something like that. I mean, it's a decent mix. I mean, you put it on paper and everything looks great. You can make all this work. There's just one little piece missing. I think if we find it, we're going to have some success.
Well, and I think, too, as Coach said, I think a lot of it depends on how quickly, and we saw marked improvement from day one, or from game 1 to game 2, how quickly everybody gels together. You've been doing this for 4 years. These sophomores are getting baptism under fire.
Right.
You know, they didn't play a lot. They played freshman ball last year, a lot of them. But some of them had a little bit. But this year, you know, it's like, okay, it's you, tag. You're it.
Yeah.
You know, so as quickly as they can gel, and if there's that much improvement from week 2 to week 3, I think people are going to be pretty surprised at what hits the field this Friday.
I think all the cards are there. We just got to find that right little mix, like Coach was saying. You got to find that right rotation, get everybody mixed in together, and it's different on you because you're middle linebacker, you're in charge, you're calling the defense, everybody's looking at you. You know, that's a new job, right?
Yep.
You did it before, but you had Eli last year, and then you had Josiah the year before, so you've always had that strong leadership role. Now you're kind of shoved into it, and it's like, okay, and then you got a bunch of young kids. I'd call them something else, but one of them's mine.
You call him that all the time. What are you talking about?
I know. And you're trying to get a lot out of them, and it's hard. It's tough being a senior on a young team because you're trying to get that push that nobody's really used to.
Well, listen, we appreciate you coming in. Get some rest, get hydrated. It's supposed to be hot again Friday night, back in the 90s. So start drinking water now.
Yeah,
if you haven't already.
definitely drink
water.
water.
Started Monday, but start drinking water now. And anything you like to say, anything family or anybody you'd like to say a hi to?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you,
You're
guys.
good? All right. We appreciate
Thank you,
coming.
sir.
Thank you. I don't know. I can't see. Coach? Caitlin's not here yet. Okay, come on back. So we did good. We got Henneman out to go to church on time. We can't have the youth leader late for church.
Well, we won't be on the church bad list.
Yeah, they'll all be after us if we do that. Coach is here. Coach, I'll tell you something else that it absolutely has nothing to do with football, but yes, it does. Everybody that you've brought us, whether it's coaches, whether it's players, whether it's yourself, class.
Appreciate
And I think that's important.
Yeah, no, I think you know when I coached with Bob way back in the day.
I'm sorry.
You know, I used to when I was head coach, I'd always wear a tie, and those kids would say, "Coach, why do you wear a tie?" And not to use inappropriate language, but I was like, well, you know, I like to kick ass with class.
There you go.
You know, and so we try to carry that through. Of you know, we step over that line, we're going to be in your face. We're going to be at your hips, you know, all night long. And then we step across that line. We're going to shake your hand and buy you something to eat at the store.
See, I like that. I used to say about this one, when he goes across that line, I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's a totally different, and I'm going to use the word animal, than it is when he comes back across. And I tried to instill those types of things. And we did, before I forget it, I said, Bob, who do we want to be with the big hit of the game? He named Jacob. So
Okay.
I didn't do it. So
I got
there's the T-shirt. If you want to
All
send
right.
it with his dad, that's good.
Yeah.
That all works out.
Good.
I am going to tell you this. When he does things good, it's my fault. When he does things bad, it's his fault.
That's right. That's right.
That's fair.
kinda the grandparent rule right
That's
there.
it.
That's it.
Grandparenting 101. It has to be that way. So, okay, let's look ahead a little bit. This week's Trimble, Next week is Meg's.
Meg's here, yeah.
Okay.
Meg's is 1-1, and it's going to be kind of a family night because their head coach is a Vinton County graduate, and that makes it extra special, because we all know each other so close. I mean, I coach with Nolan, and so that's going to make that game extra special. It's going to be, you always compete harder against your family.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
At the family reunion, those games are pretty tough.
Yeah.
And so it's going to have that kind of feel, and we hope to be going into it with a little bit of wind behind our sails after beating Trimble, because like I said, I have such great respect for Coach Ferris and Trimble, what he's done year in and year out. I mean, it doesn't matter if he's got 20 kids or 50 kids, they're going to be a good football team, and that all starts with him. And, so to get a win against them it's getting a win against Trimble. It'll make
Absolutely.
it's a thing to really start some momentum on.
Well, and people stand up and take notice.
Yeah.
If you beat Trimble, it doesn't matter. Like you said, it doesn't matter if they're having a good year or a bad year. If you beat them, you've beat Trimble. That's
it last year. I mean, it went down to the fourth quarter, and fortunately, we were able to figure out a formation that kind of gave them fits right there at the end. And that formation and it allowed Parker to kind of run little counters here and there, and it got us in the end zone and finally put the game away. But it was one heck of a game.
Oh yeah.
And being over there, it's a heck of an environment over there.
Well, and we had, if I remember right, we had an injury that took quite a bit of time to
Long time.
solve.
Yeah.
Bob and I were actually in the crowd doing that game. It was fun. We had a ball. We used to do that for basketball all the time, sit in the crowd. It's a lot of fun. With all of this, I don't think it's possible now, but to sit in the crowd when you can, it's a lot of fun. People kind of look at you like, would you shut up? We can watch the game. But it doesn't always work that way. So, Coach, tell us a little bit, a normal average day for you. Run me through.
Wow. Well, I don't, man, there's not an average day right now.
I doubt there's anything normal either.
No, because, right now, because like I said, when you have the kids that we have here at Vinton County, and you just said with the class they have, with their desire to get better and their hunger, it just keeps you going off the field of, what else can we do? So, if I don't have something that I have to do in that moment, I've got that computer open and I'm either watching practice or I'm watching Trimble right now, just to figure out ways to put these guys in the best position, and unfortunately my other job, they're patient with me right now, and I really appreciate that. So right now the normal day is, try to get everything done and get that computer turned on, and it'll be on till at least midnight tonight, watching practice from today. And again, what are those little things? Because, with young, we were talking about young linebackers, and in today's game, young linebackers, it's tough not to watch all the eye candy, we tell our linebackers, just focus on that guard. Well, they see motion, they see all these different formations, and that's just part of being young. I've always thought I'd like to try to, patent like blinders for line, like those horse blinders, and that would be really good for the first 2 years, because what comes with reps is you start understanding that stuff really doesn't mean much,
right?
Because I'm always telling our offensive coaches, if that guy, is just coming off the ball, but we're running up the middle, turn it into eye count. He should be in motion. Make him watch things, and that's been a challenge for us. We're getting better, but a lot of those young guys, they're just they're like pinballs with their eyes right now, and that's, like I said, with Trimble. Trimble will kind of lull you to sleep with that bone, and then all of a sudden they'll sneak that quarterback out. And so we've really been hammering, some of those things. You got to stay focused, even if they've ran that dive play 8 plays in a row. They're just setting you up. And that's just experience and reps. That's all it is.
Oh, sure.
And I haven't been able to figure out how to put blinders on their helmets. So.
Well, if you do, we'll help.
There we go. There you go.
And I'm sure, I know she is. I did see your wife the other day at the restaurant. Didn't get a chance to say hi or anything, but I'm sure she's super supportive.
No, she's my family's been, My family's been so supportive of me and my journey at Benton County and coaching here 20 plus years. And this school's been just amazing to me. The administration's been wonderful, So I mean, I can't thank my family enough. And I said in one of the earlier shows, I was a Brave in high school. I was a Bobcat in college, but I'm a Viking for life. So.
There you go. We appreciate that too.
Yeah.
We really
Yeah.
do. Let me look out real
Okay.
quick.
All right.
I haven't seen Coach Carper yet.
Do we have to tell jokes right now? What do
I guess.
We
all
got,
right.
we got, we got
And I still don't see her,
tell a
so
couple
we'll talk
jokes
a little
here.
while longer.
All right.
Dylan, if you can kind of watch for her, if she doesn't come, I'll understand. But we were expecting her about 7:10, and it's 7:10. Well, maybe it's not as late as I thought it was. Obviously, in your mind, the top of the TVC when we're all said and done is going to be Vinton County.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think's coming next?
Well, that's a great question. I'd have to, I think experience is a great thing in football, and so based on that, I'd have to say, like I said earlier, I think Athens is the favorite. Not only do they have experienced players, they've got a coaching staff that's been together for a long time, and that's just as important.
Oh, sure.
That continuity in systems, and so I'd have to say Athens, I would call the favorite. Think about Wellston, when you haven't won, in a while and you start winning, boy, that really gets you going.
Oh, sure it does.
And, it sometimes gets you through games that maybe you should lose. So, they're a wild card. And then Nelsonville's Nelsonville, year in and year out. They're going to be fighting until week 10. And, just like the last few years, week 9 and 10, whether it's Nelsonville, Vinton County, or Nelsonville, Athens, it means something,
Always does.
Absolutely.
And so hopefully this year, week 9 and 10, Vinton County, Nelsonville, Vinton County, Wellston, hopefully I'm hoping those games mean a lot, because we get to go down there to Wellston. And I think it's been really cool since I started coaching at Vinton County. We've always had a rivalry with Wellston. And I think we have just a strong rivalry now with that team over there in Nelsonville.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And that's why high school football is so awesome. Late in the year when the weather starts changing, you get some muddy fields, and it just comes down to, which group of kids got the desire to get it done, and as a coach, that's what you want to be around, and we've got kids, that they're just hungry. Like I said, they're texting me, hey, can we get in the locker room? We want to get out there and run routes today, So I'm just blessed.
Sure. Well, and I think maybe to add to your rivalry schedule might be Uniota. That's turning into
Getting into something.
Yeah, no, we're already, as a coach, I'm already counting days till next year with them. To be quite honest, I feel, and I think, like I said a couple weeks ago, I think that Uniota game, I think that was a coach's loss. I think we did some things that, we're going to change, and we did change just as a staff. I think we were kind of maybe still in a little bit of the mode of last year, and we're a different football team. We have different players who have different strengths, and we kind of figured that out, and so I'm counting down the days to get Uniota back there.
and they get to come here next.
Yeah, they get to come here, and I like we talked about a couple weeks ago. They last time they came here, that 21-20 loss, I blame the offensive coordinator, and I know that guy real well. He made some, I think, bonehead calls trying to be greedy. And those type of close knit games, you got to be disciplined as a player and a coach. And I thought, he was a little bit too greedy that night. So.
Well, they always say hindsight's 20/20. So I mean, there you are. I don't know what else you do, but Joe, you got something?
Not really. I mean, kind of wondering on our offense side of the ball. It seems like we're struggling a little bit getting the plays getting the plays in. Seems like we're taking a little bit to get our play developed, and it's cost us a few timeouts. And that could be huge in a close game like that.
Well, it was huge last week because, we had to do that twice.
First half.
Yeah, and what happened is, going in at the half, we're driving the football. And we've got 1:30 on the clock with no timeouts.
With no timeouts.
And we'd found a rhythm, and Hayburn was kind of getting in a rhythm. He was kind of getting in a groove, and I think that miscommunication where we had to call timeouts, I think it took a score off the ball because we had Circleville kind of on their heels going into that half, and instead of going in, 14-8, going in 15-14 is a little bit
It's a whole
different,
different ball game, yeah.
So, and we've been doing some things, to work on that. Last couple of years, I've been doing that, and so, we've had to change it up a little bit because other coaches have different styles, and I think from week 1 to week 2 we got a lot better at it.
Oh yeah.
No, that's just not fair to the players because, they need to have all the resources, including those timeouts, so they can score. So, we've talked a bunch about that at staff. We've done a lot of things at practice. We putting the signal caller, like 2 fields away, doing all kinds of things to really get that improved because, that can't hold players back.
Right.
That just can't hold players back. So I think we're in a lot better place. We've scaled down some things. I think we were a little bit trying to do too much. And I think, with Lane and Clayton, they're downhill guys, and we've kind of figured that out. And so we've gotten into that eye a little bit, and they're comfortable kind of just running downhill. And then Jace, he's good at getting out on that edge, and so that's who we need to be. Pound you, and then kind of find the edge, and that's who we need to be. So let's simplify it. I think we had kind of maybe 10 run schemes, 10 blocking schemes, and I think we've pared that down to 5 or 6.
Sure.
And so now we've got linemen that just have to know, 5 or 6 schemes. And that's going to help them, because, in football, 5 or 6 schemes, you can run 5 plays out of 200 formations. It's the same 5 plays, but people think it's
200 different
Right.
plays.
you know what I'm saying?
Just because it looks different.
Yeah, and so we've tried to really pare that down, not only to make it simpler for the players, but also to improve that communication.
So I'm going to assume you're not going to bring Bob back as your offensive coordinator.
Oh,
Your I
my,
coached with
I
him. He had
tell
like
ya.
170 plays.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are second graders. What are we doing here?
A little overcomplicated.
Yeah, and he talked me into that last play at Nelsonville. I knew it. I said, no. And at the last minute, I relented, and poor Andy broke his freaking collarbone that night. But no, that was a lot of fun coaching that group and coaching with Bob, But he's kind of a run and shoot, kind of Andy Reid. Let's put it all on the table.
Yeah, let's play now. Let's go for it.
I always thought I'd walk into practice. We're going to run the polecat this week and then muddle huddle next week.
Sounds about right.
So,
The one and only year I coached with him, I had a ball, but I'm sitting there going, they're second graders. Help me here. It just seemed a little much.
No, that staff, it was myself and Bob and Larry Arthur.
Yeah.
He was on the staff, and I love Larry. He's such a great member of the district administrative team, but I loved Larry. He came out to me first day of practice and said, Coach, I don't know football, but I'll do anything you ask.
There you go.
And so he was great to have around. He would have the inhalers like in a holster. He was Johnny on the spot, and I loved having him on board. So
Yeah, the good days.
yeah,
And these are good days. You
yeah.
can tell you're having a good
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Nobody likes to lose, but you can
Yeah,
tell you're having a good time.
Yeah, I don't know what else do you do on a Friday night? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? What else?
Well, I told Bob the other day, we've been doing this for 35 years, and I promised grandson that I would at least do it till he graduated. So I've got this
there you
year
go.
and 2 more.
There you go.
Then I don't know what I'm going to do.
All right, well,
Because he plays
you take over. There you
I don't
go.
know about that one.
he plays basketball too, so I'm stuck for the next 3 years. Enjoy it. I mean, we've had a great time. Obviously, the equipment that we've you know, we went from having something that looked like a telephone and you called the station, and then we had something else just recently that you plugged your cell phone in and it was one little box and two, and now we're actually sophisticated. I can't believe they trust us with this stuff.
No, it's amazing.
I can't believe they gave you a laptop
Yeah, I know.
and sent you on your own.
And it has my name on it too. I just,
Awful.
Now, I did realize a couple weeks ago, our first show, they do have one rule, and Mr. Grillo doesn't get to touch anything.
No.
That's the one rule. It's like taped
No.
on everything.
yeah,
You know.
and what he's taken that for, and obviously Bob's going to take the advantage that he can. Well, I'm not allowed to touch anything, so I'm not going to help set up, and I'm not going to help tear down, and I'm not going to carry it out.
It's been like that forever.
It has been.
Forever.
It has been. But it's been, I'll tell you, Coach, we look at it as a privilege to not only do your stuff, to do the basketballs. We really appreciate the station for allowing us to do this over the years, and the sponsors. Cottle Chipping obviously is sponsoring this show, and we so appreciate that. You know, it's nice to know, to get to know the kids. It's nice. I mean, you and we've known each other, but to sit and talk to you is a whole different thing than what it is now. And so, you know, it kind of makes you feel like you're becoming not only part of the organization, but you're becoming part of the system.
Sure.
And we appreciate
Sure.
that. Joey, it's all you.
Kind of threw me on the spot, huh?
I've done that before.
Oh, man. So, I mean, without giving too much away, are there any major changes that you're doing to prepare for Trimble?
Wow. Well,
I mean, I know that's a loaded question.
That's a great question. That is a great. So
I don't know if you can plead the fifth
Wow.
on this station.
You can be vague, very vague.
I'll be vague this way. I think we had some guys last week show us that one, they can catch the ball, and two, I'll put that there. You know, so I think we've got some young guys. We're going to ask them to do a little bit of something this week, and other than that, I mean, you know, this week, like I told you in the beginning, it's literally double tight, you know, versus a 5-man front.
It's going to be
And-
old school smash mouth.
You know,
Lull you to sleep and then do something real quick, real different.
it's not. There's no real surprises, and we've got to get in that mindset. And you know, if it's any time to kind of bring back the spirit of 1993 Vinton County football, this Friday is the night to do it. You know, because Trimble's not fancy. They don't want to be fancy. They're going to come in there, going to get low in their stance. They're going to come off the ball, and you better be ready.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, they're going to hit you in the mouth, and it's how you react. Is what's
See how it
gonna happen.
goes.
but you know, we've got some tough kids, you know, and I'd put any Vinton County kid in terms of toughness against any Trimble kid. So let's do it.
Yeah. Well, you obviously are going to have size advantage, I think, on the line.
Yeah.
That's going to be a plus. Linebacker crew, I would grade as even. And again, your DBs have not played bad. They've just been playing against guys that are 3 and 5 inches taller than they are.
And a little bit faster,
Yeah,
and
and-
a little bit more experienced.
Yeah, probably a little older, a little wiser. You know, I did notice, because you mentioned it the first game, I did notice that grandson didn't dip inside
Yeah.
as often.
Yeah, and this is, you know, I have great respect for Trimble. They're not a passing football team.
Right.
That's not who they want to be, you know. But now those corners, you know, it's a different type of mindset this week. They've got to kind of force that toss sweep in out of that bone.
Yeah.
You know, and
Let your
so
backers and everybody pick
yeah,
it up.
so it's not about, you know, staying with the, you know, the deep route. It's kind of, you know, getting up in there with that inside shoulder and forcing that ball back inside so they don't have, you know, 10, 12-yard alleys, you know, to run that, because they'll run that toss sweep out of that bone, and that corner's really got to get up in there.
Oh, sure.
You
Yeah, he's
know,
got to
and
turn
so-
everything inside where all his help is.
Yeah, and so they've got to be just as tough as, you know, and you know, our young linebackers, they're going to have to, you know, fill. So,
I mean, that's the name of the game is linebacker. See a hole, fill it.
You never. I can't remember. You were in the line. You
I
were
was
the
all
end.
over the place.
You
I
were the
was
end the times I knew.
outside linebacker, inside linebacker, D end, D tackle, nose tackle. I was everywhere. Guard, fullback, tight end.
And you were, I can't remember, 185 pounds soaking wet or something.
Senior year is 200.
Yeah.
So that's when I played guard. And everybody else was 250 and 275. And I was like, what am I doing?
Coaches refer to you as a plug-and-play player.
Yeah.
It's a great guy to have around. You can plug and play him anywhere.
I can't believe, and I'm really glad you brought Coach Henneman with you. I couldn't believe the transformation because I saw it with my own eyes of a kid that was 200 in high school, and then we had this, was it 16-week workout thing between graduation and going to Capitol before you started, and he went from a kid that was 200 in high school to a kid with no neck. And I'm thinking, where does neck go? But they grew him, is what they did. And so I think from listening to Coach Henneman, I mean, he's got it. He knows what he wants to do, and I think he now. Does he help your wrestling team as well?
He has, and we'll certainly talk about that. And we also, use Tristan also.
I really know Tristan.
So and they're kind of it's a combination. Ralph is real power, strongman oriented. Where Tristan's kind of a speed expert in my opinion. Speed, agility, flexibility. He's quite an expert in that. And
he's got a lot of finesse going on.
Yeah,
as well.
And so I try to engage both of them. And I think it's a great combination.
Sure.
And to have that in Vinton County is amazing. And then also we've got some kids. Speak of your son. I mean, he was up there at 6 a.m. with Tristan all winter long.
Mm-hmm.
And don't miss. It's not, you don't have to ask him to go, so.
No, he's something else.
So.
And he'll sit and obsess. We've got banned from watching film in the living room, me and him and Josiah, because it turns into an argument every time about who's right and who's wrong.
Well, the person that's right's the person that's right.
Yeah, I know.
That works.
And they won't accept it's me.
Well, in their eyes, you're, I hate to use the word has been.
Yeah, I'm old.
You're old.
Yeah, I've faded out.
You're old. I'm ancient.
Yeah.
There's no way. And like I used to tell you kids when we were younger, I don't know how I got to be as dumb as you think I am and live this long.
Well, I always tell everybody, the best coaches are sitting up in the stands and they have not been wrong yet.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Not been wrong yet. The coaches in the stands are never wrong, and every play works on a whiteboard. Every play.
Absolutely.
Always.
So, and it's amazing, and we tease about Bob all the time, but he can sit in the booth, and he does it often, and say, okay, they're going to run to the right through the 3-hole or whatever hole it's going to be, and this is what they're going to do. And 75% of the time, he's exactly right.
No, he's got a good feel for it. He definitely has a good feel for the rhythm of football. So yeah.
Maybe when he retires, we can talk him into joining the staff.
Yeah, no, I told him I talked to Andy, and Andy expressed desire. He's just, in a space right now where he's trying to build his career, and but I coached Andy, and Andy will be a fine football coach.
We learn from a good guy.
There you go.
Don't tell him I said so.
I tell you what, he's
Please
gonna
X this out from the show. And don't say that I'm giving Bob kudos, because I'm not, but I really am.
Bob's gonna have this on a loop.
Oh, he will all the time.
It's gonna be on a loop.
Packer said something because he texted me right before we got in and said, he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I got some stats together and I've got this. I've worked it out." And he's like, "That's why you get first billing on the show." And I'm like, "Exactly." So. It is what it is, I guess. We do miss him. We're about 2 minutes away. Evidently, Caitlin's not going to make it. So, Coach, last words.
Just want to express, always my appreciation, to our fans. They were great last week, and we're committed to getting better every week. And I hope you come out this Friday night if you like old school smash mouth football.
This will be it.
You got a classic coming up Friday night, and we're excited about it. And hopefully, it's the first of more wins this year.
Sure. Joey, last words from you.
Good luck to you, Coach. I hope everything works out. I mean, I'm pulling for you. I got one on the sidelines and one playing, so it's kind of a weird position.
It probably does get a little weird for you.
It's a little odd. text Josiah on the sideline like, hey, look, your linebacker needs to do this. And he'll look up at me and shoot me the death glare. He's like, come on, Dad.
Dad, you're old school. You can't know this stuff. This is new football. Well, listen, we appreciate everybody taking the time to spend an hour with us tonight. We again appreciate our sponsor, Cottle Chipping. We wouldn't be here without them. And we certainly appreciate them taking the time to sponsor us and to be with us every week. So for tonight, Josiah Thacker, Jeff Thacker, and Coach Marcus Gaines saying good night.